tonight's broadcast on ESPN at 7 Eastern Time, including Jay Bilas, who's back here on the show. How are you, Jay?
Great, Richard. How are you?
I am doing just fine. So 7 Eastern Time tonight, you're in Bristol, right? Who's with you? Walk me through the broadcast this evening.
We've got Reese Davis is the lead
Okay.
on this thing, and we've got Mike Schmitz, who's one of the best talent evaluators I've ever been around. Bobby Marks, who spent a career in NBA front offices. Jay Williams, Adrian Wojnarowski. We got a pretty good crew.
Fantastic. And is there an NBA draft bubble, or are we going to see Commissioner Silver, like Commissioner Goodell, announcing draft choices from his basement or man cave? What are we seeing?
No, Adam Silver and Mark Tatum will both be on the ESPN campus. So he'll have a little green room and walk out with each pick, get behind a podium, and so from that standpoint, it'll look similar. The players won't be there, and it won't be in sort of a cavernous arena like Madison Square Garden or the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So that'll be a little different, and we won't have people yelling at us when we make a mistake, stuff like that from the crowd.
You sure about that, Jay? I mean, you might have some executives come down and yell at you. You never know. I mean,
yeah. Jimmy Patero may come down and give a quick pink slip. Like the give me the hook.
Yes,
that wouldn't be a surprise.
You won't. Just remember, it's called Disney Plus, Jay. That's called Disney Plus. Make sure that you work that in, and I think everything will be fine.
I may be delivering those pizzas that are coming your way.
You're just gonna be just fine. So that's cool. So the commissioner will be there. That's cool. And then the players, I assume, will all be in their spots. Who's the first one tonight? Give me your 2 cents of what's going to happen tonight, Jay.
I think it'll be Anthony Edwards of Georgia. I think he's the best prospect. My colleague Mike Schmitz, who's as good a talent evaluator as I've ever known, has LaMelo Ball as the overall best prospect and the best talent. I happen to think it's Edwards, but reasonable minds can differ on that. I tip toward Edwards just because he's a spectacular athlete in addition to being a big-time scorer and just a freight train in transition and can get to the rim. I thought he settled for jump shots too much. He should have shot a lot more free throws, and he's not all the time focused defensively, but when he does sit down in a stance, he is hard to deal with. But I think he's got the best chance to be an all-star player. And then I'm a big believer in James Wiseman out of Memphis. He only played 3 games last year because that whole NCAA issue he got involved in. But if this draft were 5 or 10 years ago, James Wiseman would have been the no-brainer number 1 pick. It wouldn't have been close. He's a 7'1", kind of Chris Bosh type player with a 7'6" wingspan, so he can run. He's mobile laterally. I think he can shoot it. So I think he's going to be able to step away and knock down an NBA three. So I think he's a really good fit for the Warriors if they decide to keep the pick and not trade out of it.
And so that would leave LaMelo for Michael Jordan. Do you think that?
Yeah.
I called that at the top of the show, the mothership motherload. That would be it. I mean, that Michael Jordan, who was once challenged to a one-on-one contest by LeVar because LeVar said he could win it, drafting LaMelo. That would be...
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a chance to ask LeVar...
to trade out of that pick, so Jordan doesn't have to deal with that chirping all the time.
If LaMelo gets drafted tonight and you do get a question in to LeVar, you got to ask him if he's going to challenge the guy who's going to be writing LaMelo's checks to a one-on-one contest to see if he could back it up. But
I don't think I'm going to be interviewing him. I will be completely frank with you. I basically said I would never mention his name again after he went after that female official in AAU ball.
Right.
I thought this misogynistic clown is not worth my time, and I haven't really changed my mind. His son is a great player, and Lonzo Ball's a great player. I actually think that LaMelo is a better playmaker than Lonzo. He doesn't shoot it quite as well as Lonzo, and he's nowhere near the defender Lonzo is. But LeVar Ball and his wife raised some terrific kids and terrific players. But I have no patience for him personally.
So then LaMelo would fit how? You're talking about him as, he's being bandied about potentially as the best prospect here. 6'7", and soaking wet, a $180 right now. Potentially.
Yeah, he's gotten bigger than that over the whole workout period. They've had a lot longer to work out because of COVID than prospects in history that have declared for the draft. But so he's bigger and stronger than he was when all those measurements are taken. But he's great in transition, and he's fantastic with the ball. He's just a wizard with his handle and his passing, and can deliver really almost any pass. I think the downside with him is he is not a defender. Can he be one? He's not an overwhelming athlete like Anthony Edwards is. So but he can guard somebody if he wants to. He just hasn't wanted to yet. And then he doesn't shoot it. Can he become a better shooter? Yes. Is he going to be a really good shooter? I doubt it. But you never know. Some players, when they get into the NBA, they really have a big uptick in shooting. Others don't. But I think with work, he can become a competent shooter in the NBA. But he hasn't been to this point. And Rich, it's been a long time since he's finished a season. He played in Australia, didn't finish the season, didn't really finish season in Lithuania when he played pro ball as a high school kid, and then he didn't finish his high school season. So, that's an issue, but it's not disqualifying or anything.
Jay Bilas here on the Rich Eisen Show. And again, I know your bailiwick is talent evaluation and seeing where fits are and things of that nature, and not the trading aspect of it. That's kind of Woj's bailiwick. That said,
everything is Woj's bailiwick. I mean, I call him for the weather and to find out what stocks to buy. He knows everything first.
There's a lot of Woj bombs, no doubt about it. But if the Warriors did trade down to 4 because the Bulls coveted Wiseman so much and they just couldn't refuse that offer, who do you think they'd be targeting at 4? Who do you think is that player, Jay?
There are a couple that I think they would really, really like there. One is Deni Avdija, who's a 6'9", skilled big guy from Israel. So he played for Maccabi Tel Aviv, and really, really talented player that is still very young, but has a lot of experience internationally, obviously. And then there are a couple others that I think would be interesting for them. One is Isaac Okoro out of Auburn. I don't know if they'd want to take him number 4 because I think he'd be available even further down, maybe 7. But he's the only thing Okoro doesn't do yet is shoot it really well from the perimeter. But man, he literally defends 1 through 5, and a real competitor. I mean, he's legit. I'm a big believer in him. And the other, I would say, would be Tyrese Halliburton. And there's some that say, well, Halliburton should go, sort of in the 7-8 range. I rank him as the 4th best prospect in the draft. I mean, this is a draft that doesn't have a lot of, sort of no-brainer great prospects. It's not like 03 that had, LeBron and Carmelo and Bosh and Dwayne Wade, all that stuff. But it's got a bunch of good players that are going to be in the league a long time, and Halliburton's ready to plug in right now as a big point guard with long arms that can defend and pass and shoot and handle. He's can't miss as far as being a long time, 10, 12-year starter in the league as long as he stays healthy.
Who's that mid-first round guy? Who's that Donovan Mitchell? Who do you got for me? Who do you got for me that can just be
Donovan Mitchell?
Who's a superstar?
I like Devin Vassell a lot. I don't know that he'll go in the middle of the draft. There are 2 guys. I'd say Devin Vassell of Florida State, who I think is the best perimeter defender in the draft, wing defender, right there with Okoro. And he's very talented, and he can score, rebounds his position, and really guards and put up really good numbers, even though he didn't play full games because of the way Leonard Hamilton at Florida State likes to substitute and keep pressure on opposing teams. And the other would be Sadiq Bey. He's not Donovan Mitchell with his explosiveness, but he shoots it a heck of a lot better. Sadiq Bey's 6'8", another long-armed kind of 3-and-D guy that can really shoot it. He shot 45% from 3 last year at Villanova. And, you research the guy, you watched him play all through college. But when you really dig in on him, you're going, okay, there's got to be something wrong with this guy. He doesn't make his bed in the morning, or he leaves his towels on the floor in hotels. There's got to be something he does wrong, and I haven't found it yet.
Jay Bilas here on the Rich Eisen Show tonight, 7 Eastern Time. Reese Davis and Woj and the cast of thousands, including Adam Silver up there in Bristol, along with the rest of the crew for the NBA draft. Okay, Jay, I reached out to you last week because we have this caper. We have some shenanigans here, but we still treat this very seriously, the mixture between pop culture and sports.
This is a very serious thing. I considered what we just talked about to be the shenanigans.
Okay.
This is something I've been preparing for my whole life.
Okay. I figured you would be the guy to reach out to. We have 4 fictional characters from film lore, basketball characters, that we're wondering who would make the best NBA draft prospect. I'm going to go one by one with you, and then at the end, I'll ask you to rank them all, if that's fine with you, Jay. You ready?
Of course.
Okay, first up is the point guard from the Venice Beach Locals, Sidney Deane. What's your take on him and his draft ability?
Well, Sidney Deane from White Men Can't Jump, great handle, somewhat of a trash talker, a little bit of a gym rat, and but really hustles out on the floor.
That's right.
At the blacktop, really. He's not yet played an indoor game. It's all been outdoors. So, his jump shot may be pushed by the wind to go in or to go out. We'll see, how he does in an indoor game. He is undersized and tends to over dribble a little bit. And he also tends to hustle in a negative fashion. But he has played against quality competition, including Freeman Williams, Nigel Miguel, who played at UCLA. Marcus Johnson was in that movie. Yeah. And then Gary Moeller, who played at UC Santa Barbara, whose dad pitched for the Dodgers, Joe Moeller.
So put it all together, and that's his. We came up with a comp of Gary Payton, but way shorter. Would you agree with that comp, Jay?
Yeah, Gary wouldn't agree with it because he was actually in that movie, although didn't receive any credit in the credits. So I think he's still pretty pissed off about that.
Okay, so that's Sidney Deane. Next up is from Hickory High School, shooting guard Jimmy Chitwood. Jay, what do you think about his draftability?
Jimmy Chitwood, spot-up shooter, tends to demand the ball, especially in huddles. He'll make his teammates better, although not particularly supportive of Ollie when he took those free throws at the end of the game. The underhanded free throws against Cedar Knob was the opponent, and who doesn't enjoy saying Cedar Knob on national radio? The problem, he's not always motivated, and Jimmy Chitwood tends to get a little chummy with the alumni. And I think a little questionable relationship with his teacher, Barbara Hershey. I think something
Whoa! Okay, that's a red flag.
I liken him to Klay Thompson without the defense.
Okay.
And people don't know this about Jimmy Chitwood. He was all-state in golf and actually went to Purdue and was found for that movie in an open gym because he was cut 3 times from his high school basketball team.
No kidding.
Wow.
That's some interesting information. And he just, again, the question, can he create his own shot?
Who do you think you're dealing with here? Of course that's interesting information.
That's right. That's Jay Bilas. The question is, can he create his own shot, though? You know what I'm saying? Like, does he need it to be drawn up on the board? Can he just improvise? That's the question about Jimmy Chitwood, right?
Well, he doesn't. He never gets caught watching the paint dry.
That's true. That's true. That is definitely a plus. Next up, another high schooler from Carver High, center Warren Coolidge. What do you think of his draftability, Jay?
Physically imposing, rebounds at a high level, was coached by an NBA player, Ken Reeves, who had a wonderful fictional career with the Chicago Bulls before getting injured.
Yeah, that was tough.
A fantastic locker room singing voice. And reminds you a lot of Ben Wallace with sort of a Barry White voice. The problem is, tends to be a little unmotivated and wasn't necessarily the best player on that show. Wolf Perry was on that show, who played at Stanford. And then you may not know this, but Jay Bilas was once on that show.
Oh! Do tell, Jay. Do tell. Really?
You knew that.
No,
I told you that.
No.
I was in high school, and one of my high school teammates, his father, Dick Baker, was the technical consultant for the show. And so he got us on the show, and I wound up the show opened.
Yes.
The show we were on opened with me getting yelled at by our coach. I was supposed to be the quote-unquote best player at Oak Ridge High School, which one of the Carver guys, Reese, had transferred to. And the show opened with me getting yelled at in the locker room, which, was foreshadowing for my college career playing for Coach K.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't know that. So did Carver beat you on the White Shadow? Did you lose to Carver in that episode?
Of course not. No one would buy that nonsense once they saw me on the floor. They had to sell that to the public.
They did. All right, last one for you. This is he plays tons of position, guard, forward, and center from Beacon Hills High School. Teen Wolf. Jay, what do you think about his abilities?
Teen Wolf, whose name in the film was Scott Howard, when he wasn't a Wolf. Great vertical leap, plays above the rim. I think you could refer to him literally and figuratively as a beast. Only 5'3", but plays much bigger.
Yep.
The problem is he comes from a small town in Nebraska, so he'd have to cut family ties. And then he's occasionally violent, although his hair is perfect.
Well done.
By the way, I love it. Peak Larry Johnson with Bill Walton's 1977 beard. That's a good comp, don't you think? That's a good comp.
Did you get the family ties?
I picked it up.
Small town Nebraska?
I did pick that up.
Very good.
I did. All right, so rank them.
Keaton.
Yes, indeed. So rank them for me. One through. I'll go 4 through. I guess to 1. Which one do you think is least NBA prospect worthy, and then the best? Jay.
I would probably say number 4 would be Jimmy Chitwood because of his lack of defense.
Okay.
Then I'd go with Teen Wolf number 3.
Yep.
Sidney Deane, I would have number 2. And then you got to go with Warren Coolidge because if there was actually a game by the actor that played the part, Warren Coolidge would win in a landslide.
Okay.
He was the best player of that crew.
Okay, very good, Jay. I appreciate it. That was stellar, as expected. That was just absolutely stellar. And did you have somebody that we forgot? Is there somebody out there that you think should have been thrown in here into this mix?
Well, I think Julius Erving from.
Well, I mean, no. I mean a non-NBA player, player.
Jackie Moon.
Okay, maybe we'll have to figure that one out for later. Jackie Moon's not a bad one. Well, I guess he was semi-pro. Was he semi-pro or different? He's professional in a way, but Jackie Moon is not a bad one.
Oh, the Florida Tropics. That's a real team. I mean, if you're taking a guy off the playground in Venice Beach, you can go with the Florida Tropics or the Flint Tropics. Excuse me, the Flint Tropics.
The Flint Tropics. That's right. Oh my gosh, Jay, have a great time tonight. I'll be there with my kids. We'll be watching.
Always a pleasure, Richie.
Right back.
And by the way,
yes.
You're talking about ESPN and your time there.
Yes.
You don't know this, but all of us went down and put our ties down on George Bodenheimer's desk to get you your shot.
I didn't even know that, by the way. We
all did that.
Did you?
We said we are not going on the air until Richie Eisen gets his shot. He's earned it.
My problem with these guys doing that early, and they knew. They know I despise Notre Dame and Rudy with a passion. They know it.
You do?
They're all trying to get my goat.
I didn't know that.
Please stop it.
No.
Stop it. Stop it. But I appreciate that. I didn't know that, Jay. Then thank you. Years later.
You owe me a tie because I haven't gotten it back.
I look forward to seeing your tie tonight. Thanks for the call, Jay. You're the best, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
You're the best. That's Jay Bilas. Warren Coolidge wins it.
That was awesome.
Ben Wallace with a Barry White singing voice, everybody. That's his comp. We knew he'd nail that. He'd stick the landing.
That was perfect.
And well done to Sean Mitchell creating all those draft profiles.
The family ties line. Come on.